What is something you got rid of years ago that you wish you kept? Gained weight. Threw out a bunch of too small clothes. Lost the weight again. Had to buy all the small clothes again. My childhood Woody and Buzz Lightyear figures. They were almost exactly like how they were in the movie and everything. Except, obviously, they didn't come to life. Lol. I've never been able to find any just like them again. I got rid of them many years ago and I super regret it to this day. Some of my old Polaroids. It would be nice to look back on. I could have scanned them or something at least. My old diaries. Was too scared my parents would go through my room and discover it when I was away at camp. So much regret, because it would have been so interesting to look back and read about how younger me thought and viewed life, and the things that I deemed important to me back then. The first girl I ever fell in love with wrote me a book. An entire book. It was about her early childhood and all this stuff she went through. We broke up because I left high school before she did, and we grew apart. We eventually became friends again, and she asked me for it back years later when she was going through therapy and wanted to see what she'd written when she was younger. I lied and said I lost it. I still feel guilty that I let my emotions get the better of me. I saw a Gilmore Girls episode once where the mom has a box for stuff her daughter wants to throw away, but she makes her wait a year before really doing it. I should have had that box. Edit. Should have been more clear. I threw the book away in a dumpster, along with my high school yearbooks and some other stuff that reminded me of her. I lied because I didn't want her to think she ever meant so little to me. An original copy of Little Mermaid on VHS that had the penis on the castle. My 1993 and 1994 Magic the Gathering cards. My old hard drive that I accidentally wiped the entire partition that had like 10 plus years of my artwork saved on it. Edit. Lol. I appreciate everyone's concern. This was well over a decade ago, and I was transferring my old hard drive to the new computer. Thought I transferred all the partitions, but was wrong and I already wiped the drive. I had a zip drive backup but no zip drive on the new computer, and didn't care enough to buy and install a new zip drive. Nostalgia, though. I sold a beautiful 12-string guitar. Traded it in. Didn't even get my money's worth out of it. Got an amazing Takamine 6-string out of it, but I wish I had just saved some more money and kept the 12-string as well. Edit. Wow, this comment blew up. As some people said below, I'll never sell a guitar again. I have an old Motorola mobile phone that I must have thrown out the charger etc. for ages ago. It has a video of my younger brother throwing the funniest temper tantrum while trying to put his already tied shoes on and refusing to stop and untie the laces first. I swear one day I will embarrass the hell out of him with the video, and for that reason, I still have the phone at home just in case one day I manage to boot it up again. One day. My friends from high school. I've been repurchasing a lot of old 2ED&D books. My collection would be much better if I hadn't parted with so many when I was younger. I once dug a fossilized turtle shell out of a creek bed near my house when I was a teenager. I wish I still had it. Edit. Y'all wanna know some irony? I created this account 2 days ago to put up a personals ad. You have to have 10 karma to post, so I commented on some posts to get karma. This is a throwaway comment on a throwaway account, and it has the most karma of any of my Reddit accounts. And that's maddening. My N64. Got it for Christmas in '96. Gave it to family, friends, kids who will most likely never appreciate it for how great it truly was. I was given a $45,000 trust fund when I turned 18. My mother passed away when I was 4 and her assets were sold, with funds being divided between my siblings and I in a locked GIC until we were 18. I spent it in 1 year on booze and gifts for boyfriends. Have never forgiven myself. I had a binder nearly full of all the Charizard cards I traded for, bought, opened, as a kid. I would normally offer kids a ton of cards for one Charizard, and now I realize I likely threw away so much money. I did it in middle school because I wanted to be cool, and figured I shouldn't have them anymore. My old Minecraft worlds. Any voicemail of my parents. A 78 Datsun 280Z and a 69 Mustang GT. My Bitcoin. Back when it first came out, I got $20 of it and used it to buy a pizza for the novelty. If I would have kept it, I'd be able to pay off my student loans, and then some. Love letters from my ex-husband. Not because I'm still in love with him, but because I think my daughter would enjoy reading. This year he was military, so we were separate a lot. So I had tons of letters and cards between us over the years. Everything I owned before my divorce. My ex pleaded with me to let him keep the household items so when his kids visited on the weekends, his house wouldn't be bare. I agreed on the terms. He would get his own stuff soon and I would get my stuff back. Within months he married Satan. Anything that would have meant something to me she put out in their garage and sold or threw away. He divorced her, but they stay married for 6 years and she ruined everyone's life. My large stack of weekly world news. Bought them one by one when I was a youngin'. Loved when Dear Dottie called everyone pinhead and Ed Anger whined about bleeding heart liberals in their columns. My stack was almost as tall as I was. They recycled a lot of their crazy stories. Would love to go through them now. Fireball Island. That game is worth a ton now. They even did a Kickstarter remake, but it's not the same. This one shoebox full of Hot Wheels. Many of them were old as shit and I seriously don't know how they got into my hands. I now know that many people collect said old cars. My mom bought me Thriller on picture disc vinyl and I made her take it back and get me the tape so I could listen to it in my Walkman because I was a stupid fucking 10-year-old kid, damn it. My entire set of classic Ninja Turtles. My Bitcoin. As a kid, me and my brother heard about Bitcoin and how you can mine Bitcoin and make it into real life money. We mined a couple coins, but since we were kids and suddenly realized we would have to do it for hours to get anything of value, we stopped. Somewhere out there is a Bitcoin wallet with about 1 to 5 Bitcoin, and honestly that would help solve every problem in my life right now. A house in the city of Chicago. In a plain working-class neighborhood. On Zillow I see prices around it in the $750,000 range. SMDH. I think my granddad paid something like $5,000 for it in the 1930s. Guitar my late mother bought me. Sold it in my 20s because I never played it and it made me sad to have it in a closet. Now in my 40s. And I would love to pick it up again. Posted this in another thread a long time ago. But the sad part is I know exactly where it is. It changed hands a few times and a local fellow owns it. He loves it and doesn't want to sell it back to me. When I cleaned out my Manchetta's man. Holy fuck the amount of spare parts I threw out. Any hoarding man will say the same. They threw out so many parts. Or things that could have been modified to parts. I sold a sword to some Satan worshippers for $50. It was a neat sword that I got on a family vacation. I was a teenager and needed money for things. These strange kids needed something to sacrifice chickens with. I think. I thought it was a good deal at the time. But I've regretted that for many years. In year 8, this boy who liked me bought me a necklace for Christmas. It was really sweet, but we ended up distancing and then finally became friends again last year. I'm in year 10 now. But he passed away late last year. I've looked everywhere for the necklace but I can't find it. My DJ rig. I had to sell it off to get some quick cash, and it was the most valuable thing I had at that time that I didn't have time to use. Now I do, but I can't be asked to just get a new rig. All my old drawings from when I was younger. Sucks, I can't see how I've improved over the years. My old ute. Any Aussies out here might feel my pain. I had a HQ Premier with a 327 Chev small block motor in really good condition that I sold for $6,000. Can't find them today for less than $30K in the same condition I had. My parents divorced when I was 11 and I stayed with my mother and my sister. Afterwards, my mother became psychologically abusive and my sister emulated her while also becoming anorexic, which made the following 7 years everything but what you'd like a childhood to be like. At 18, I decided that I had enough and with the help of my father moved out into college when they weren't at home. I only left a letter explaining why I left and blocked them in any way possible. A year later, I get a package with a lot of pictures from my childhood from my mother. At the time, I really just wanted to forget about her, so I threw out all the pictures that had her in them and gave the rest to my father to keep. As much as she is a despicable person, I really would like to have kept them this year. I left in a hurry back then, so I didn't take any other childhood pictures with me, and having destroyed something so unique and personal despite the bad memories hurts. Well, I had some Apple stock from before the iPhone, but I also sold most of it before the iPhone too. My 1964 Fender Bassman. I've sold a beautiful Mohegan Fender Telecaster 69 to a guitar dealer because I thought that a mini keyboard was a better choice for me back then. Goddamn, what a retard. Flappy Birds, the original. I factory reset the old phone, forgetting I wanted to keep that one forever. My sobriety. That note some strangers on a train dropped next to my seat. I threw it away without wondering what they wrote, and I am fucking curious. Pokemon cards. My first computer, Windows XP desktop. Threw it in the trash when it stopped working in 2014. Feels bad. I'm late to this party, but I hope that someone sees this. Half my life ago I was 14 and I got hit by a car. I ended up in a coma and with frontal lobe brain damage. When I finally got home from hospital months later, I expressed my feelings and how I was dealing with everything through poetry. But I was very, very private about it, so when my mom found them and told me she'd read them and they were great, I threw them away. I wish I'd kept them. Not even for my sake, but they might have helped someone else going through the same thing. Honestly, pictures of me and my ex after we split. We met in college 9 years ago and dated for about 1.5 years. We took tons of pictures during that time, but we had a messy breakup. 21-year-old me decided to delete those pictures without thinking of the consequences. 5 years later, we decided to give it another chance, and now I'm married to her.